Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
What's up, Steve?
Not much, Ben. It's Oscar Day.
Merry Oscars! We also have Nick with us. He's a little preoccupied with Cheez-It, so he may not have much to say, but he's here. Everybody say hi to Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Not you. Not you.
Okay.
All right, well, today we're talking about the Oscars. They just got done. I have our list. We didn't do an episode where we made our predictions. We did them on our own. And turns out this year, me and Steve, we were on the same wavelength. Pretty much everything we picked exactly the same. We always do it with the things that we think will win and the things we want to win. So we'll talk about the Oscars. We don't got much else to talk about. Let's do a roll. That's a 9. That's a 9.
Meh. All right.
Nick?
Ooh. Get on in there, bud. 4.
Oh. Yeah, you don't roll very consistent. You're very much like me. All right. You blow on it. Turn it around the heads. It got to be some sort of lucky thing.
Nat 20.
Was that 2 20s in a row? That was 2 20s in a row.
All right, I'm switching up the dice.
No, we can fuck. All right, cool. Let's start with the only news I have. We had, as it always happens, a case of celebrity deaths that come in threes.
Mm-hmm.
First one, we had best known as Charlie's mom on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Lynn Marie Stewart dies at 78.
Shame.
Yeah, not the oldest you can be, but you know, once you cross that 75, it's fair game.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're not their characters, but if I was going to guess someone's mom from that show was going to die, it would be Max.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Sad.
It is sad. And then after her, Michelle Trachtenberg at 39, which is crazy.
Yeah, super young.
From Buffy, from Eurotrip, from Harriet the Spy. I don't really love much of those things that she was in, but she was just one of those 90s staple people. Yep. Yeah, just 90s boner comedies. I think of like her and Jason Biggs. You know, they're kind of two of the bigger ones.
Sure.
R.I.P.
She only just did the one.
I know, but that's what I think of. When I think boner comedies, I think of her flashing people on the Autobahn or whatever it was. Right. And then, was it Fred Armisen? Like, was he on the train? And he was like...
Yeah, Muscoozy.
Yeah. Not funny. I fucking hate that movie. I mean, maybe I would like it now, but I remember watching it and just really disliking it. Didn't they have like a Sunny D commercial with like nudity or something? Like there was even nudity in our
all the stuff from like the end credits.
Is that?
That was all like deleted scenes.
Oh, really?
Or
That's funny. Yeah. Anywho, and then lastly, Gene Hackman dies at 95. Very mysterious. We still don't know. Along with his wife and one of their dogs.
They all died?
Yeah, they all died at the same time. She was found in the bathroom. He was in like the mud room. The dog was locked in a closet. There's 2 other dogs that were on the property that didn't die.
They're the prime suspects.
They checked for gas. There's no gas leaks. They don't know what happened, but they died. But you never know. It probably was some gassy sort of thing that, because there were signs of decomposition, so they had been dead for a bit. So they probably died first out of these 3. Yeah, but 90, 95, that's some good time. So now the 3 main leads of Superman, all gone.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some of our topics.
Things that really matter.
The important stuff. These guys are dead. They got nothing to contribute anymore. So let's talk about the thing that we could all talk about. High on Life. I finally finished it. Nick, you finally finished it. Steve, you talked about it last week. Or, yeah, you did. But now we could talk a little more in depth about spoilers, because Steve was telling me about Thomas Middleditch and tiny cities and a movie theater you could get to.
Did you buy any of the chips that like you could like summon basically a piece of land that either had like a movie theater on it or a tiny city? Or
I don't know what you were talking about. See, when I played the game, it was do the mission. This is what Gene is telling me to do. I do it. And then it's like, hey, you want to run around or you want to get another bounty? I instantly just got another bounty and I flew through them and I never went exploring except for maybe on my mission. So there's probably a ton of things.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the second ending, the secret ending, where you go to like the human services planet and all the humans that were going to be used as bongs are relocated, and you have to get a key card off of, the yellow guy with the eye and the two sons that are like detectives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's those two guys like, hey, hotshot, are you going to go kill the G3? Well, we want you to do it. I know we sound sarcastic, but this is just how we talk. And then their dad is like the mayor. Will you go, and you find out the mayor's a bad guy, and there's some weird scientists and stuff.
Okay,
and
yeah.
So that was like the official ending. And I was like, okay, that's good enough for me. I don't need to go and search for other
I did go to
shit.
that planet because you could like just take the portal to that little the base they were in or whatever, but I didn't do the super secret ending, I guess.
Yeah, you just gotta climb, jump up high, and then you get to a door, and it's like, you need it on so-and-so's desk, and so you gotta warp out of there, get it. It wasn't too hard, but yeah. And it's like a big joke of like, oh, what is this, a setup for the sequel? Oh, I guess we'll never see that guy again. Yeah. So. But for first-person shooter, I had fun. I did play it on easy, because I'm a bitch. And it definitely wasn't hard. I don't think I died unless I fell in lava, fell in acid. No one ever shot me to death. I never had to do a boss twice. It was extremely easy because I was playing it on easy.
Yeah. Maybe I played it on medium because I've definitely died at bosses, but no more than twice, I think. By the third time, I was like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely wasn't a hard game, but made me laugh all the way through. Like fun gameplay, fun worlds. It didn't reinvent the wheel in a lot of ways, but I haven't played a game like this either, I don't think.
Yeah. Not a lot of comedy games.
Not a lot of comedy games that that are actually funny and do it well.
I think of Grand Theft Auto and listening to the radio and the funny stores. Like those are very funny games, but the plot is generally pretty serious.
Yeah.
But a straight comedy game, I don't know if I've ever played one.
Mm-hmm. So I think I said it last week. I hope that there is a sequel, or at least I want more games like this.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a genre that has a lot of potential. But I mean, I don't know if you could just do like, you can't do it. I don't think you could do a game where it's like, oh, here's stand-up comedy that you play or something like that. It's like, it has to be this dumb, silly thing.
I don't know.
But I could see you doing High on Life in a fantasy world or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Just really weird shit.
Talking swords instead of talking guns.
There you go.
Okay.
You just do like a game of, what's that? Enchantment on Netflix?
Oh, yeah. Disenchanted?
Disenchanted, yeah.
Disenchantment? I always get it wrong. That Matt Groening one.
Yeah. But like something kind of like that.
Yeah.
But even funnier.
Okay. Yeah, I could do that. I really want like a model of Kenny the gun. Like, I love the designs of Monster with his little babies on the back, but it's a little big. I wouldn't want that on my shelf, but I hope they make, toys of these. I want these guns. They're cool.
And when you pull the trigger, it says a catchphrase.
Yeah, something like that. Simple as that. It doesn't need to go pew pew, but it doesn't. The mouth doesn't even have to move. I just want like some good detail, because I love all the creatures and everything. That was maybe the most distracting thing of the game, is when I was looking around, like, ooh, what's that? That's nothing. That is just a very nicely painted thing in the level. It doesn't do anything for you. And it's like, ooh, what's over here? Nothing. It's just cool looking. And so it was a little frustrating when you expect to seek around every corner, and it's just like, no, it's just a good looking game.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my problems is like all the aliens generally look the same.
Yeah.
I think I could have used a little bit more variety.
There's about 6, and that's all you fight is just these.
Well, I'm not even talking about the combat. I'm just like the place you walk around. It just seems like,
okay.
These are like they're all just kind of like there was the one planet that had like the Furby kind of people or the Ewoks. Like that was a fun thing, but like, we've seen Ewoks before, but I guess I get that that's the joke. But just like, oh, this is the purple alien with one eye. This is the purple, or this is the yellow alien with one eye. Like all those, kind of look the same.
Sure.
But I wish that we saw more of Gatlia or whatever, because a planet of gun people.
Yeah.
Like,
what's the society?
Like? They don't have arms, but it seemed like they had like towers and cities.
I know. And you only see Kenny moving on the Chili's or the Applebee's table, like to talk to you about what he did. And he moves like a slug, but each of the ones that you have are vastly different from the others.
Are they different races of guns?
Yeah.
Like, what is this world? Or like you just all get born and then you just happen to get whatever power you get?
Yeah.
Not that that matters at all, but it's just kind of a fun thing to think about.
Yeah. Did they think about it? You know, did
Yeah,
they work that out?
that'd be interesting. So off air, I talked to Ben about like the chips that you like download. So you never got any of those, right? So you collected the crystals, you traded them in. There was a guy who had like in the main planet base where you like, had the pawn shop
Yeah.
and stuff and where your house was. There was like a noodle shop or something like in the center of town
Yeah.
where a guy was just like, "Hey buddy, come over here. I can
Yeah.
sell you something."
Mhm.
And
I remember him.
yeah. You never traded any of your crystals in for stuff?
I don't think so.
I talked to him in a mission. Like you
That's how
had
you
to
know that you can buy stuff from him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like you dropped this guy's name, and then I never went back to him. No.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I was I was telling Ben there's one mission where it's just a guy who you have to move the pipes around so the guy on top of this like structure can shit into his buddy's mouth, and it actually took me a minute to figure it out. But the whole time you're trying to like do this thing, it's just him going like, "Oh man, I can't wait for you to taste my poopy. Oh, it's almost out. I'm turtle heading. Oh, you gotta hurry up." It's just this really gross, dumb bit, and then you complete it. Then you can just watch this guy like eat a bunch of shit.
I
It's
do.
so gross.
In one of the levels where the squid guy is like, "Hey, can you help me through the pipes?" and then he ends up being the boss at the end. I really liked that because the puzzles were fun.
Yeah.
And it just felt like I was missing a little bit of that. All the other puzzles were just slow down this fan and go this way. Send a buzzsaw into this wall and go this way. Or make sure you hit this plant so it blooms so you have a place to stand. I wish there were a bit more puzzles or challenges in it because it really was, you hear the music and you just go in, kill a bunch of guys, and then keep moving. It was like, it got a little routine.
Yeah. Honestly, I think one of the parts I thought was really surprised me and was great was the twist of Kenny being the one who like betrayed his planet.
Sure.
And then so like, oh wow, like look at this actually emotional beat in this very silly, stupid game that actually works with the story and sort of like gives it more depth. I was impressed by that because I didn't see that happening. But yeah, I just had a total blast with this game. Nick, do you have any other thoughts on this game? Things you like, things you didn't like, or you can sit in silence if you want?
No, I share all the sentiments that you guys have. I've been playing it for a while because it takes me a long time to get through games.
Did you ever beat Spider-Man 2?
Of course.
Okay, good.
I just because I know that neither of you played the DLC, and that's what's most fresh in my mind because that's the last thing that I played. Because when I finished it, I went right into the DLC. There's a DLC called High on Knife, and it's like Knifey wants you to retrieve a package that was supposed to be delivered to him that didn't get delivered to him, and that's the whole point of it. Is you have to go to like this other planet that has like basically that version of like a intergalactic UPS or something, and it's all a lot of fun until the very end. And that's where I really have problems with it. It's like the whole last bit of it is so hard to like know where to go. It's so dark. Like I mean, and it's not just me. Like I looked it up after this, and like everybody is complaining about this with this DLC. Like it gets so dark in the end of it. You don't know where to go. The puzzles and like direction are so confusing. But you do finally get through it, and then the final boss in that is like probably the most I died in all of High on Life. I don't know if they upped the difficulty. I don't even remember if the DLC had a difficulty option. But I died a lot trying to get through that. But it does add, I was telling you guys earlier, it adds a few different weapons that are a lot of fun. It looks just as nice.
But no Kenny.
No Kenny because of the
Sorry, Justin Roiland, get the fuck out of your own game.
Yeah, because of that whole debacle. There's no Kenny. And that's definitely sorely missed, even though it's only about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on, your playthrough style. There's some funny stuff in it. I did say you could skip it, but I would say if you hearing how much you both
he's was it walking back everything he said
a little bit, yeah. Just because hearing how much you guys enjoyed it, it's worth your time if you just want a little bit more of that High on Life, Because I don't see us getting any more High on Life games, to be honest with you.
Possible.
Also, hearing you talking about the guns and wishing there was I don't think that I've seen any sort of like physical
merch stuff.
But I do know the collector's edition that Limited Run put out came with a knifey keychain.
Oh, okay.
And among other little goodies.
All right.
That's pretty much all I've seen. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys got around to it. It made me laugh a little bit. That Steve got through it before even I did, because I've been playing it through
But that's Steve. He puts on a game and he beats it. Unless it's something that's an 80-hour game or it's extremely hard. Like, this is the game I'm playing and I will be done with this.
And I respect that so much. I don't know if I just get distracted too much by other things that I'm into.
What's my phone doing right now?
Yeah. But there are so many times where I wish I could be like that. Like, put on a game, I'm playing this shit for 2 hours, period, no matter what. Because a lot of times I put on a game, I'll play it for 40 minutes. I'm like,
that's enough.
I
made some distance.
Time to do some other things.
Yep.
So
and then it's like, I should really watch a movie or start that show. And then I'm just scroll.
Or like, when's my next day off? What movies are coming out? What am I going to eat that day? It's like, dude, that's like 3 days from now. Just play this game you just put on. So, whatever attention span that you have, Steve, I deeply respect it. But I'm glad we all enjoyed it. So, yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Steve, you said you probably read a book or something gay like that. No, what do you got?
No, I'm in the middle of a book, but I have not finished it.
Next week.
Well, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
We'll see. Shrinking season 2, I finished. Really enjoyed it. I've talked about season 1 on here. Pretty much all the same stuff. Really funny. Really emotionally affecting. It's the best thing Harrison Ford's done since, I don't know, Indiana Jones. Okay. He's really, really good in it. I think he should get Emmy nominations and awards. It's not that he's like necessarily like stealing scenes. It's just like, wow, like Harrison Ford has just always been the guy in movies and stuff who's just been grumpy and serious, and here he is just like seeming like he's having a good time but also playing a damaged character, and it's just a joy to watch, and everyone's so fun, and like I wish I had this group of friends. Like everyone talks about, oh, I want the Friends group from Friends, but they're all like kind of terrible people who like aren't really realistic, where this is a group where like, oh, I can see why you guys would all be friends and hang out with each other, and like they all just care about each other. Like they'll have their differences and beefs and be mean, but it's really just about like how do we help each other in times of struggle, and it's just a great feel-good show. Like I said, if you love Ted Lasso, just move on over to Shrinking. It's in that same wheelhouse. And then my last, I have 2 other things, but did you want to?
I got nothing else. Okay, here's one thing I got. So I've been making a list of shows only I have seen. Obviously it's hyperbole, but things that I can mention to people and not know. And I was thinking of, like, there was this Conan show when I was a Conan the Adventurer, and I watched a lot of that. And then just a flash came to me. There was a show where I remember these like 3-legged hairy red aliens on Mars. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So I Googled it, and it was a mini series. It was on Fox Kids, and I think they played it a couple of times in the year. It is called Red Planet. It was created by Robert A. Heinlein. He did Starship Troopers, Predestination. Those are his books, and this got adapted into a kids cartoon, Family on Mars, and there's like the evil corporate guys who want to keep people in the mines, but it's poisoning people, and our hero meets a fuzzy little Googa that becomes his friend, and then it turns out like the big 3-legged aliens I remember, they're the natives, I think they called them. They're the true Martians, and they weren't red and furry, but they were 3-legged. I just got it mixed up. And so this show just came to my mind, like, oh yeah, I watched this a couple times. I remember really digging that. Is it available anywhere? Oh, it's on YouTube, a crappy VHS rip. So it was only 3 episodes. I watched it. It's not good. It's so, like, you can tell they are just plowing through this plot. Like every line is exposition to set up the next line. It's just go 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 go, and it's kind of cheap, really ugly looking. Not the best animation. Mark Hamill's in it. That's kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
But I was glad I got to rewatch it because it was such a flashback to the past. And but not would I recommend Red Planet? Probably not.
You know what?
Mars all day.
Yeah. You know what that makes me think of is not shows that nobody watched, because I know like this was big on Toonami, or it feels like it was big, but like shows no one ever talks about anymore. Is like the Oblongs and Mission Hill.
Yeah.
And
they were like early
Space
days.
Ghost, Coast to Coast. Like There were some good shows I remember watching, and it's like I think they all had like one season, maybe
like
two.
Oblongs has like 10 episodes, and that's it.
But I remember going like, this show's
it's pretty good. Yeah.
I definitely couldn't make it today.
Sure, you could.
I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe. It's been a while since I watched it. Anyway, but yeah, so there's.
Yeah, and that was at a time when I didn't have cable, so I missed out like the early days of Adult Swim and things like that.
It's good times.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Cool. Nick, what do you got? You got something?
I did watch an anime movie. I don't know if anybody here would care about. I just was looking it up just to get their names right, because you know how it is.
Yep.
With Japanese movies, but I'll talk about it real quick.
Yeah, fucking white people, man. We just can't pronounce shit.
We suck. But it's a short movie. I don't know what the Japanese title is, but the American literal adaptation of the name is The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes.
Yeah.
I know.
That's so
terrible. I know. But it's a cool concept. So basically, there's like an urban legend in this town, and there's a tunnel called the Arashimi Tunnel, I think. Hang on, let me double check. I'm not ruining that. Before someone comes on this podcast and is like, you idiot. Arashima Tunnel. And it says the legend is that it'll grant you a wish if you go into it, but at a cost. And this kid, he comes across it one night after like getting into an argument with his dad, and he goes into it, and when he comes back out of it, he realizes like weeks have passed while he's been in there. So now he knows like time does not flow the same way in there. There's like this exchange student that he meets at a train stop. She ends up being in one of his classes. Everybody hates her. He comes across her one day, or she follows him, I think, when he is out one night, like running from his parents or from his dad, because his dad's like a drunk after his mom like left. I don't know. There's a lot of other little things in there. But anyway, they end up like joining up to kind of experiment with the tunnel and figure out how long how the time difference works, like how far we go into, does it change the time, how long is like, they do all these really cool experiences, like one of them's out while the other one's in, their timing stuff, can our text go through, all that kind of stuff. And basically at one point and then what's cool, one thing I like about it is there's not really a romance, like an obvious romance between them. It's like they both have a goal, they both want to get their wish granted, and you don't really even know what their wishes are until like halfway through the movie. So I like that about it. But they're like on a quasi date at one point at an aquarium, and you find out that the boy, his little sister, died many years ago after like an argument that they had, and he ran away or whatever, and she like fell out the tree and died. So his wish that he would like is for her to come back. And her wish...
Never bring back the dead. That's always gonna...
Her wish is that she wants to be like a talented manga artist, because her grandpa was like a mangaka, I think that's what they're called, but nobody ever appreciated his work. So she just wants to make him proud, even though he died, whatever. That's what her goal is. And it's really cool. I really like the sci-fi like aspect of the time difference.
I like that they're trying to figure out the rules.
Yeah, it's fun watching them do that. And it's a really short movie. It's like 80 minutes.
Nice.
So it flies by. It's really beautifully animated. I know I got you to go see Your Name. It gave me Your Name vibes. I don't think it ever hits like the heights of Your Name, but I do like it a lot. I don't want to like spoil too much unless you care, but
no, don't spoil it. It sounds cool, because like I'll give anime movies more of a shot than any series. So
for sure,
if this comes my way,
it's on Hulu.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I will say that. I think when people hear anime, they kind of forget that there are one-off films out there, not films of series. Like there are one-off films out there. And I would sooner recommend most anime movies to people who don't like anime that much than a series. You're not going to get into a 2,600 episode series.
Even in English, I want a movie over a TV show any day. Like Breaking Bad, one of the greatest shows of all time. But I'd rather watch a movie than an entire series of something. So same applies to anime.
Yeah. Like it's not perfect. When it finally wraps up, I would say like there's some things about the ending that I don't love, but I really liked it. It flew by. It gave me that fantasy slice of life, like scratch that itch that I have that I'm always kind of seeking with these kind of movies. That Your Name gave me I could give you like 25. You know, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Wolf Children. There's so many movies that give me that vibe, and I was looking for that, even though because there's so many that I've already seen, and it was on my list for a while. I finally popped it in. I had the Blu-ray laying around, and only afterwards did I see that it was on Hulu. But yeah, it's really fun, sci-fi, dash of romance. I wouldn't say mystery, but yeah, I really liked it. Cool concept. And if you don't want me to spoil anything, I won't go any further. But I do recommend it for sure.
All right, sounds good. And say that name one more time.
The Tunnel to Summer, the Exit of Goodbyes, I believe.
And if I look it up under that name, it will come up. Okay.
Yeah, it's on there for sure.
All right. Steve, you got another thing or two?
Real quick, did Nick ever recommend Sort of the Stranger to you? Did you ever watch that?
No.
You should. Good. That movie's fucking dope.
Yeah. Okay.
Has probably like my favorite anime fight scene at the end. It's slightly over the top, but not really. It's just it's a good ass movie. So
it's streaming on
okay.
So if you want a good anime recommendation that has like Japanese sword fighting and stuff in it, like it's sweet.
Samurais in that time, or is it modern?
No, it's basically samurais.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like the villain's like
it's not available to stream.
Only on Crunchyroll.
All right, well, shut up, Steve. I don't care anymore.
I assumed you would
Nick,
have
do you own it?
I do own it.
I think you might have
in storage.
I might have it outside of storage.
Okay,
actually. I'll
cool.
let you know. I'll
Cool.
take a look.
Check out Sort of the Stranger.
Yeah, another really short, fun action movie. Yeah.
Did you ever ask your dad if you can put your stuff in his basement?
I did, but his basement, he even admitted, very humid, and I have valuable stuff.
Right? Okay.
I asked him about his like spare bedroom too,
and
he was like, how much stuff do you have? And I was like, a lot.
It's like a lot of stuff. And what are you using that bedroom for?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, Dad, unless it's your office or your gym, do you need it?
Yeah.
My aunt was talking about how she has to go back to Colorado to pack up some stuff and maybe put it in either a pod or a U-Haul. And she's like, oh, maybe I'll put it in a U-Haul and then I could drive to, visit family. I was like, if you have a U-Haul and you're moving stuff and you're coming back here and you're going to, you're going to get all my shit. You're going to get all my figures, all my comics, all my VHS, all my books.
Where are you going to put it?
I will figure it out. I may have to walk around it all the time. Because, in my room, I have a second dresser with a TV on it. I think I'm going to have to take all that out and then just stack it all up there and it will just be in storage. But at least it will be in my possession.
You just stack all the books and stuff like on top of each other and then put a bar.
And then
just hook your clothes.
Well, they're all in tubs. They're in big tubs, and so they'll sit on it with each other. Except for my comic books, they're in comic boxes.
Yeah.
But
then just put it all on the floor and then put your mattress on top and you're good to go.
I was like, ooh, I could get those razors to make my bed higher and put everything underneath.
I have a lot of stuff on
But like the tubs are like this tall, so then my bed's above that. Like it'd be like Lauren getting into bed,
What if you go through it all and there's stuff you can let go?
I went through it to put it in storage. Like I already got rid of the stuff.
Get rid of anything.
Probably not.
Even at this age, because maybe you haven't gone through it in a long time.
I mean, there may be something like I had a bunch of Resident Evil figures from the games, and they were so fucking cool, and I wanted to give them to someone, but they never took it, so I put it in storage. So maybe I'd be willing to give away that, but there's some cool zombies.
My son's birthday's coming up.
Yeah, I'll give him some
Resident Evil.
Horrible zombie figures, like the William Birkin toy that transforms. So fucking cool.
From like
the
Resident
games.
2, Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, the games, the official
package and everything.
No, I opened those up because there was like it'd be a zombie that could like pop up from the ground. I opened those, but like my very first X-Men toys is like my Gambit toy, my Professor X figure. They're all in boxes. The very first Rogue toy. I got some Lord of the Rings from the movies. I have like the Nazgul on fire. You push a button in his back and the fire lights up.
That's sweet.
They had a Shelob that was like just jammed into the packaging. Like it's like they had one size of package and like whatever, you're gonna fucking fit. I just have so much stuff, and I'd be willing to get rid of like those toys. If someone wants to buy them off me, I don't give a shit about collecting figures. I'm not gonna become a millionaire because of that shit anymore. Yeah. So I would probably get rid of that, but I'd keep all my VHS unless I already have a DVD version of it. Keep all my books, all my comics.
If you get your Lord of the Rings shit, let me know. I'll at least take a
look at them. Yeah, I think I got a invisible Gollum, or it was like a 3-pack where it was invisible Gollum, invisible Frodo, invisible Bilbo. Okay. Because they were the 3 ring bearers. I think I may have gotten that.
That's cool.
So I'm just excited to go through that stuff again.
That'd be cool. Let me know.
But I don't know when that's gonna happen. But yeah, we'll all have a play day and just play with my stuff.
Same, if I ever empty mine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I that's all I want to do is you have all your stuff and let me help you alphabetize it. Let's put them all on shelves. Let's get them in order.
Bed needs a reason to.
I helped, yeah.
It was like I didn't have even enough space then
for all that, and they were different sizes. So it's like, okay, you go this way on that, and then it needs to be a little more uniform. But I want to help you with that.
Me too. If I ever have the space.
Nick, did you see? There was a teaser for it a while ago. I don't remember if we talked about it in the pod, but there's a trailer for Lazarus, the new like anime from Mappa. Mm-hmm. That shit looks fucking
starting
sweet.
soon, very soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of like Blade Runner-y or like just futuristic. I don't remember what it's about, but it looks awesome.
But so did God, what was that show? Ninja Kamui for last year. That looked fucking awesome too.
I don't remember.
There's like 3 episodes where like, God, this is awesome. 4th, 5th, 6th. This is the steepest drop off I've ever seen in anything ever.
I'm gonna have to cut all this because Nick's been talking away from the mic the entire time, so I gotta cut all it. I love good banter, but let's cut off.
Get a third mic.
I don't have any place to put it. I have to get a whole other system for extra mics, and they wouldn't even be these mics. I'd have to buy 3 brand new mics that would work with it because they're very special. You know, like guitar plugs into amps. They're a very specific thing. Same with the thingies, but anywho,
having more than one friend is so annoying.
If I had an extra $1,000, or I think it's closer to like $1,400 with all the stuff I need, I would do it. But I know I just got my taxes back, which was about $1,200. No. I'm not spending it all on that. No, it's going into the account. Anywho,
anyway,
Steve, you got something.
The last thing I got 2 more things. Sorry, I keep doing that. I finally finished Cobra Kai. The show is completely done. A show when I started, I expected not much from. It was just like, oh, it's quarantine. Let's put this on, see what it's like.
That's a perfect quarantine show.
I love the Karate Kid. Let's give it a shot. And the first few seasons I thought were charming and fun and like better than I expected. And then it just kept going. And it is one of the most ridiculous shows I've ever seen, and it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. This last they broke up the final season into 3 chunks over like a year and a half, which is so fucking annoying. Like 5 episodes apiece. But there was this big tournament called the Saikai Takai, which they said 15 times every episode.
I remember you talking about that.
And it was so fucking annoying. You have all these characters the show ran for 6 seasons over 7 years or whatever it is. But in this world, only 2 years have passed.
Okay.
So the year it started in was 2018. So it ended in the year 2020, I guess. But they didn't even talk about.
They didn't talk. Okay.
They never brought up quarantine. So quarantine.
I'm here for the big match.
Yeah. Which good for them. They don't need to.
Yeah. Don't date it.
But the valley in Los Angeles, the world has just been rocked by karate, and just like karate is now super popular, and the whole world is watching this tournament of like minors. This is the biggest 14 to 18-year-old combat in the world. This is what everyone is into, and everyone's dating each other, and the relationships are silly. There's a ton of exposition all the time, and it's just like all these things that don't matter but always seem to be like the biggest thing in the world to everybody. And it's always fun to like bring these characters and these actors back from these movies who like, that was a character who had like 1 line of dialogue, but they brought him in just as like a fun thing. Yeah. And that's kind of nice that they can do these for these older actors who haven't worked in 40 years or whatever it is. But there's just some stuff like in the final 3 episodes, I would say, are actually like kind of good. Because you're finally getting like all the payoff that has been building for 6 seasons, and there's like some emotionally good stuff. Like there's one scene with Johnny Lawrence, I forget, William Zabka, who's like the lead of the show. Like he like breaks down and cries. It's like, oh wow, like he can actually act. Okay. He spent 6 years just going like he can kind of act, but then he's actually like pretty good in that one scene. But then you have like these 2 villains of like the 2 guys from the first and second movie who like were like teamed up, but then they became rivals, and now they're just, like, spoiler alert, they kill each other. And like like the one guy, like he lives on a boat, and so he just blows up the boat, and they both die in this huge explosion. Cool. Over a children's karate tournament. Like, what the hell are we doing? And it was all about like, I need to save my legacy. I want to be the greatest kung fu master. And it's just like for teenagers. Like, what is this? Like the stakes were so high for something no one has cared about karate since like the early 2000s. It's an Olympic sport that no one really cares about. But it makes it seem like over the past few years in this universe, karate is now like baseball, it seems. But you only ever really see the teenagers do it. I'm done with my rant. The Cobra Kai should have ended at probably like season 4 or something like that. But it had some fun stuff in it. Sometimes it made me laugh. Overall, like I guess I kind of enjoyed it. But I give you a hard time about Walking Dead. This is my Walking Dead. Like I'm so glad it's over, so I don't have to watch it again. But now there's the Karate Kid's Legend movie that's coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more stuff because the show is very popular. But thank God. I haven't watched a show like this in 15 years. Like this targeted towards this teen demographic. But it's weird. It's like the target audience is both teens and 35 and over people who like really enjoyed the Karate Kid films. So it's a weird grouping because there is cursing, there is violence, but it's never like gross or over the top or anything. Anyway,
did one of the main people get like paralyzed in the tournament or something, or did that happen earlier in the seasons?
At the end of season 2, there was a big brawl in the high school, and this was actually probably like the best scene because there was like a lot of like long takes and really some fun stuff. But one kid gets kicked over a railing, hits another railing on his back, and like is like not kind of paralyzed. But he's like, oh, the star of the show now can't do like karate. But then the third season is him like building up his confidence to come back and fight again.
Okay, all right.
But
it sounds super
skip
it. All right, what's your other thing?
My last thing is a movie you gave me to watch, and you were like, I think you would like this. It's from the director of The Substance, whose name I won't pronounce.
Carly Farge?
Sure. Revenge. The first half hour of this movie, or 25 to 30 minutes, I was like, I mean, there's some fun camera work. There's definitely some talent there. But I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this. And then the rest of the movie happened. I was like, this movie's kind of dope. It is absurd and gross. And not a pleasant film. Because very early on, you just have a character be sexually assaulted in a...
She's a stripper for a bachelor party, right? Or an escort?
I forget if that was her job.
Or did they just pick her up?
She's like an LA hottie. They were having an affair. They go to this nice house in the middle of the desert, which kind of is like doubling as a hunting lodge for him. The director of this movie, I believe, is French, and so like this entire cast, other than the main girl, is French. And so like a good portion of the dialogue in this movie is just in French. And yeah, the first is just like, here's this guy having this affair with this like young, beautiful woman. And then his two buddies show up, and then he disappears for a little bit. Or like the next morning he goes to, they have a party and they're drinking and, you know, passing around drugs or whatever. And the next morning he leaves to like go get passports ready or something like that. And then his buddy gets too handsy, and the boyfriend comes back home and is just like, hey, what happened? And she's like, this happened. And he's like, well, here's some money. Let's never talk about it again. And so she wasn't having that. And then they're like, well, we got to kill her now. And then this is where the movie becomes so ridiculous. Like everything about this movie, totally implausible. But it's a ton of fun. From the get-go, impaled on a tree, and then like sets a fire to get herself.
Like, doesn't she? Oh yeah, she burns the tree so it will break.
Yeah, so it's weak enough for her to like break off.
And then like
melts. I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that would work either.
And meanwhile, this whole time she's just been like gushing blood.
And then wasn't it like a license plate? She melts it to like...
No, it was a beer can.
A beer can to heal her, or not heal, to seal her wound, right?
And yeah, so the next 30 minutes of this movie, or it felt like 30 minutes, she has a tree sticking out of her stomach and doesn't seem to be like in that much pain as she's walking around with this thing. And she's like diving into muddy rivers to get away from this dude. And like, once again, just also not wearing shoes. Has like no real clothes. And then it's just like her taking these guys out one by one in violent and disgusting ways. I had to watch through my fingers with my eyes like just barely open as this guy sliced his foot on the broken glass on the road and has to pick it out. My sphincter was so tight. I couldn't watch it. But yeah, she takes, at one point, in order to get the tree out, she takes peyote that she got to drug herself up, and then cuts open her wound bigger with a knife, and then seals it with a beer can by heating up the beer can. But like, it was really awesome because there was like a phoenix on the beer can. Yeah. And like burned it kind of like a tattoo onto it. I was like, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And then the whole movie, she just, at this point, she has to like rip off her shirt to like make a tourniquet or whatever it was. So now she's just in like a sports bra in her underwear, but it's like, it's not, it kind of looks more like Tomb Raider-y. Okay. She just looks like an action hero. She's like covered in dirt and grime and like burn marks and stuff. But she's like both like very attractive and very badass looking. It's really cool. And yeah, I just had a real fun time. And then you get to the final gunfight in the house, and there's just so much blood everywhere, and so much like penis dangling and just flopping around as they're running back and forth. It's the weirdest gunfight you've ever seen because it's just them going in circles around this corridor. And the amount of blood these people lose, once again, like no one would be alive. Yeah. But man, what a good time!
I'm glad you liked it.
I did. It's like an hour and 48 minutes on the shorter side. And after, I think it's like the 26-minute mark, she doesn't say another line of dialogue, which is really fun. All the dialogue comes from these three guys who you like hoping die anytime soon. But yeah, just if you like the substance, if you like really graphic violence, this is for you.
A revenge story, especially over like about a potential sex worker or something, or violence to the women. You like to see the revenge of that.
In the beginning, you're like, there's no way this woman is smart or capable. She's someone who is like pampered, typical like LA girl. Like she is not someone who survives, and she does, and she's awesome. And I was like, where is this actress at? And she's been in stuff, but never like really blew up. But she's fucking great in this. So I thought she was. There was during the like assault scene. You know, the one buddy like opens the door and looks in and kind of like, hey, what's going on here? And he's like, hey, bud, either like join in or get out. And just close. And you can see her like crying. And I was like, oh man, this is like great stuff. Yeah. And he just closed the door and then it's over. But yeah, I'm just glad we didn't see that occur. Yeah. You know, we don't need to get to that part. Get me to the revenge part. Tons of fun. Highly recommend Revenge.
Cool. I'm glad. Make sure you remind me to grab it before I go.
I'll just give it to you now.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, let's get to our main topic, the 2025 Oscars. We did not do our predictions on air, but we did them separately. I have the results for everything, and Nick joined in. He did his real quick. Sorry, Nick, you did a little worse than both of us. What you want to win, actually, you did better than me on that. One was you got 7. I only got 4 on that. Steve, you got 10. So that's good. But the will win, you got 11, Nick. I got 16. Steve got 17. Yeah. You got me by 1. Like, no year have I ever been that good and that close.
Yeah, the past couple years, you've been atrocious.
I'm dog shit because I always vote for what I want to win. Yeah. I'm not trying to be smart and figure out who will win, but I did it this year, and fuck you.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. All right. So all in all, how do we think of this year's Oscars?
I mean, we talked through a lot of it, so it's hard to.
And we fast forward through a bunch.
We fast forward through some. It's hard to say. I think it's your standard Oscar show.
Sure. No surprises, really.
No real surprises. We don't get a slap or a nudist or anything like that. None of the bits were really all that crazy. Ben Stiller's one was pretty fun.
That was fun.
I'm a big fan of Conan. I think he made sense as Oscar host. Had a solid opening monologue.
Has he done it before?
No, I think it was his first time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think it was just a very safe show. Conan was a safe choice. No real. I guess the hardest dig was at Drake. This year.
I guess. He was no Nikki Glaser.
if I could change anything, it was the length of Adrian Brody's speech. But other than that, just a totally fine Oscar. My biggest issue with this Oscar show was just like I wasn't passionate about pretty much any of the films other than like Anora and Sing Sing. But Sing Sing wasn't even nominated for Best Picture, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
I think this was a perfectly fine Oscars. I wasn't extremely bored. It was funny. It had its moments. Sandworm playing the piano and the harp is just a good joke. I even liked Adam Sandler showing up because they were making fun of Adam Sandler. So that was a good bit. What was up, like Substance and Dune 2 are so they stand out. And everything else just feels very, these are Oscar movies. I wish we had a bit more weirdness, but I don't know what I would put in the place of those. So all in all, I'm happy enough. There was no bullshit, I think. That I can't believe if Conclave won, I would have been like, come on, there's better movies than Conclave. I'd feel a little I don't know about pissy, but not happy about it. But things like Anora winning, or even The Brutalist, I understand that. All in all, good, but not great.
Yeah, I haven't loved award shows in quite some time, and especially over the past few years, I've disliked the Oscars more and more. But this year kind of pushed me back to the other direction, where I was like, okay, this one wasn't awful.
Because I don't think we watched it last year. We didn't cover it. And we may have watched it independently, but we normally every year we get together and watch it. But I don't think we did last year.
Yeah, I think maybe I was working.
And I didn't give a shit.
I just watched the clips on YouTube afterwards.
Nick, any thoughts on the Oscars? I mean, you seem pretty happy about most things.
Yeah, I mean, I know I missed
just a
few things. I was just scrolling on TikTok. I see Ariana and Cynthia opened the ceremony with Defying Gravity. I would have liked to seen that, but I'm sure I can imagine how that went. I mean, I liked Anora a lot this year, so I was rooting for that. And Mikey won, so that's great. I'm okay with everything. I didn't same as you guys. There's a lot of stuff that was nominated that I didn't see.
Yeah,
I wish I'd gotten around to, but sometimes theaters in our area just don't get some of these kind of movies. I mean, I don't have an excuse for not seeing Sing Sing. I know we had Sing Sing for a while.
Sometimes forcing yourself to see these movies feels like a chore. Even though when I went and saw Sing Sing, I was like, I know Steve's seeing this, so I gotta see it, but I really don't want to be here right now. But then 5 minutes in, oh, I'm watching a movie. Yeah, I'm having a good time. And that's what you just kind of have to put yourself through.
Yeah, I have no doubt that it's good. And I would have made the trip to a local theater that had The Brutalist if it wasn't so fucking long.
Yeah.
When it's available to stream, I'll watch it, and maybe I'll be blown away, and I'll be like, damn, I wish I'd seen that. But at the same time, who cares about my top 10? I'll get to it. But for the sake of just knowing about the movies that were nominated while watching this, I do wish I'd seen maybe just a little bit more. But The Substance won a lot, Anora won a lot, Dune, I would have liked won some, but I guess I couldn't have hoped for it to really win the stuff that it didn't win.
Yeah,
so.
and so the ones that it loses out for, maybe an acting or a picture, well, Anora came in and took its place. So
all in all. Yeah.
The most, I think, important ones that had to happen were makeup for The Substance, sound and visual effects for Dune 2. Those are if it's not that, then once again we can say the Oscars are bullshit. I think the only real surprise was maybe Flow for Best Animated Feature. Things like Inside Out Disney stuff are kind of in the bag a lot of the time. But I really did think Wild Robot, a movie that had legs. It didn't do well opening weekend, but every week just did better and better and better.
Just needed that word of mouth.
Yeah. I mean, it did have a little bit of a Terrifier 3 help. Kids were buying Wild Robot tickets and then sneaking into Terrifier 3. It's the same thing. South Park, the movie, didn't make a lot of money, but Wild Wild West made a fuck ton of money because all the kids were buying Wild Wild West and sneaking into South Park. So
I didn't think of that.
So there is that. But so I was happy for Flow. It's one of the better other animated movies, even if I don't think it was perfect, I really did enjoy that.
Yeah, if like as much as I love the Wild Robot, I think it was my number 4 or maybe 5 for last year. I just recently watched Flow and having it fresh in my mind. I'm not mad at it winning anything either. So I just think the Wild Robot is there's nothing
just a better movie.
Yeah, I think overall it's just a better movie in terms of like the quality of the animation, the music, the story, how it wraps up.
It does have an unfair advantage of talking characters who can
budget too, I'm sure.
and give you exposition, where Flow is like you just go with the flow and just kind of see what happens next.
And for that, it is kind of special.
Yeah, because you never knew what was happening in Flow. When that tidal wave happened, I didn't know that was going to happen. That took me by surprise. And then
I knew there was a big
see
flood.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I just
but you still don't.
Well, he's like a cat's in water, but I didn't know why.
You still don't quite, even after watching it, you still don't. There's no explanation for the flood. Are we watching?
Like, is it in days?
Yeah,
or
like
was it
times?
A meteor or what? Like, is this happening often? Because it's
even with the bird going up into like the cosmic floating, it's like, it's open to interpretation. And even after it was over, I looked into a lot of stuff about it, and like the director himself was cool with it being open to interpretation.
Yeah, did you know there's a post-credit scene on Flow?
Yeah. And I hate
it. I don't think it needs it.
I don't know if
is that supposed to be the same one?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either, because that means another wave came in, killed everybody.
There's no way that it ended up back in the ocean.
I'm like, we're assuming that the whale we see at the very beginning, the one that saves the cat and the one that's dying, is the same whale. We have to assume that because that's all. But I just would like to say, nope. The flood happened again at some other time, and this is just a whale.
Yeah.
Or
I wouldn't say I hate it, but
I don't think it was necessary.
The point of it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, especially like it had a really nice ending of them around the puddle crying and being
coming
sad.
to terms with like life ending and It's
all
very
right,
good.
All right, you're good, Steve.
You're never gonna watch it.
All right, so let's go over just the top, the big 5. Actress in a supporting role went to Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez.
A movie
nobody saw, nobody's gonna see. It's gonna be lost to time. No one gives a fuck about this movie.
But we were happy for her.
Yeah,
because we like Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, she's good. Apparently, she's the only good thing, and the rest of the movie is shit. But hey, it got 2 songs nominated, so it can't be all that bad. But I really thought Ariana Grande could have taken this, and just as one of those, the young kids will like this. She's been pining after this role for years and years and years. What a nice story that when they do her biography 30 years from now, what a fun scene they could do. You just give it to her. So I'm surprised they didn't, but this is fine.
Popular one.
Yeah, that's probably the most. Jesus, that's probably the most surprising one.
She should have won. She's so good.
So best actor in a leading role, Adrian Brody for The Brutalists.
A movie none of
us saw, but we voted for this. Nick, you thought Timothée Chalamet was going to get it, but really should have been Coleman Domingo. That guy is just good at everything.
Timothée Chalamet and Adrian Brody's are more of the traditional Oscar role, like they play those clips or whatever, and that's like the dramatic scene. Like, okay, I see why you're nominated.
Yep.
I think Coleman Domingo's work in Sing Sing is just so subtle and small. There isn't like a ton of like big. I mean, there is like the one scene where he's like breaks down after his friend's death in front of everybody. Like that's this clip you play, but they didn't play that one. But yeah, I wish he won. I wish Sing Sing won more stuff.
Yeah, it didn't get.
He was even nominated for more stuff.
Yeah, it didn't get much of anything. And then, like, the person nobody thought was going to win, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, he was last place for all. Regardless of how you feel about that movie or that role, there was no way he was going to get.
Was he even at the Oscars? I feel like we didn't see a cutaway.
I mean, they had to have. I didn't notice like a blank square, so he had to have been there, but we were doing a lot of yapping during the thing, so it's easy to miss. Adrian Brody, I get it. You have things to say, but the rules. Shut the fuck up. Keep it short and concise. I know you want to get a bunch of it, so you got to start cutting other things and tell people, hey, I can't thank everyone because I have some things to say.
Yeah.
Then you just avoid that. But to tell them, turn that music off. I know what I'm doing. Like, fuck you, man. That's just so the ego.
I mean, as a viewer, it's awful.
Yeah.
But in their defense, if it was, any of us, and it's like, here's my one moment where he won an Oscar before, but now like 20 plus years have passed. It's like, I'm going to have my moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked very hard for very long and I've earned this. And so like people taking like the only reason it has to be cut short is because like the ABC is trying to like limit time so they can move on to American Idol or whatever.
Sure.
It is a show for entertainment purposes, but really this doesn't need to be televised, and they can all just take as long as they want, and they can have a 6-hour show if they want to.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be viable for a watching.
Nobody's gonna watch
or they
that.
can just like we don't televise it, but there's a live stream and you can see them talk, and they can still cover all there's still going to be news outlets who talk about all these moments.
Sure.
But so in his defense, I'm like, I get it. It's not the end of the world that this guy, instead of doing a 1.5-minute speech, he does a 4-minute speech. But I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man. Like, it's 10:30.
It's a little rude.
We're trying to go to bed here.
Yeah. Best actress in a leading role, Mikey Madison. Like not a surprise, but kind of a surprise. We thought it would go to Demi Moore as a lifetime achievement, sort of.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna do the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, of just like she definitely didn't deserve to win, but they were like, she's working a long time.
Yeah, let's just give it to her.
But I mean, from the get-go, I was like, okay, Mikey Madison is the front runner, and then Demi Moore just kept winning shit. I was like, oh, I guess maybe she's not the front runner anymore. But I'm glad she won.
Yeah. Best director was Sean Baker for Anora. As soon as we got that, we heard that, I was like, oh, it's a lock. We know where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I'm not mad about him winning. I think he's very talented, and I look forward to see what he does next. I think it's one of the least flashier directors on the list. Like, I would even argue, like, we wanted more Dune 2 love, and Denis, one of our, I think between all three of us, like one of our favorite working directors, and like consistently makes good, interesting looking stuff. Yeah. And it's kind of like, you look at Anor, like we've seen indie films before. That's what indie films look like. We haven't seen anything that looks like fucking Dune 2. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, but it's a sci-fi big budget movie. Who cares? So
who would you have taken off to put Denis Villeneuve in here? James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, or Jacques Audard for Emilia Perez?
I'd probably go more Complete Unknown, because A Complete Unknown, well, I'm sure is a lovely film, kind of looks more generic, and
anybody could shoot a fucking biopic of
James Mangold did Walk the Line, and it looks like Walk the Line. Yep. So it's where at least,
wait, did he do Logan? Is that the same guy?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. And sorry, I'm blanking. What was the other film you said?
Emilia Perez.
Emilia Perez. Like, from a lot of the shots in that movie, I think there are interesting looking visuals in Emilia Perez. So I have no problem with Emilia Perez being on there. The fact that it is a musical, and like there was different lighting cues and looks and styles going on there, I was like, okay, I think that there is merit to be on this list. Where Complete Unknown is just like, yep, that is a 1950s biopic. No offense, James Mangold. I like your work.
And Best Picture.
How does it
God, that trailer just always playing. And then Best Picture, Anora wins. We knew it. Not upset. I wanted The Substance to win just because that was my favorite or second favorite movie of last year. It's just so damn weird. But I guess it could have been something boring like Conclave. So I'm not upset Anora took it, because it's just a fun movie and she's just, fun to watch.
Yeah, of everything on the list, even though Anora didn't make my top 10, I really did like Anora and appreciated a lot of what it did. Totally no issue with it winning. I'd put it over pretty much anything on the list. But I also haven't seen 6 of the 9 nominees. So.
Your son's a fucking pussy. That's all I remember.
That's all Nick says to contribute. So congratulations, Steve. You win again, but it was close. I was on your ass.
Real winner tonight, not these millionaires and beautiful actresses and actors.
It was either documentary short. I think that was the one that got you over. Yeah. Everything else we were pretty
neck and neck.
Yeah. I mean, I had like some that you didn't do.
I won.
You won. Congratulations. Yada, yada, yada.
You know,
I'll try harder. Even though I tried really hard on this one. And I did.
won.
I did pretty good. I mean, 16 out of 23. That's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
So, is there anything coming out this year that you can think of that you're like, well, that's definitely gonna
be a...
I mean, I know we're so early into the year.
I know. Because if you go back to January of 2024 and you read off the list of these, you wouldn't even know any of these movies were coming out that year except for Dune 2 and Wicked. Mm-hmm. Everything else would be like, what is the substance? What is the brutalist? Does the substance and the brutalist fight, you know? So it's who's to say, you know? Yeah. Like the best movie of the year so far is what? Companion?
Oh, I was like
of the year of this year, you know. So
yeah, probably so far.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
no. I don't know.
Hard to say. Yeah. But what comes out next week?
Something we want to see.
Mickey 17. Yeah, we thought it was Novocaine. That is the week following. So it is the Into the Badlands, Land of the Bad.
Whatever.
Land of Bad. What the fuck? What is that called? That Batista Mila Jovovich movie. So we got that, and we got Mickey 17. And so obviously, of the two, we're going to do Mickey 17.
And Mickey 17 on paper should be an Oscar pick.
Sure.
But I don't think it's... This is going to be a movie the Oscars are going to forget about, except for maybe visual effects.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe original screenplay. I don't know if it's based on...
No, it's based off a book. Okay. The book is Mickey 7. I guess there was only 7 clones, but they're like, nah, man, let's bump those numbers up.
Yeah.
So cool. At least we got something. Yeah. You know. Awesome. All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Nick, do you want to give out your socials for anybody? Nah, who gives a fuck? So as always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And thanks, Nick, for being here.
No problem.
All right. Everyone keep consuming.
Oh, I will.
Oh, man, I can't wait for you to taste my poopy. Oh, it's almost out. I'm turtle heading. Oh, you gotta hurry up.